The Honourable Leader of the Opposition. The common sense Conservatives want to axe the tax, build the homes, fix the budget and stop the crime. But this Prime Minister is simply not worth the cost. After 8 years, he's doubled national debt, which has led to rampant generational inflation, forcing 2 million Canadians to food banks. According to his own statistics, the Prime Minister has spent more on interest on that than on health. Why is he giving more money to bankers than to actual healthcare professionals? The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, quite the contrary. It's the Conservatives who continue to put forward austerity and cuts whilst we invest in nurses and doctors. We are here to invest $200 billion, Mr. Speaker, over the next 10 years in order to improve our healthcare system. We are here to deliver a national program for food at schools to help children study with a full stomach. We will also be here to broaden childcare benefits so that families can take care of their children while working. We are here to help them. The Honourable Leader of the Opposition. But he's still not worth the cost. He continues to spend, causing worst inflation levels. There are 2 million people that have to go to food banks every month. He's doubled the cost of housing, even after having spent $80 billion in housing. These are programs that balloon government costs and that butt into provincial jurisdictions. Will he finally meet our defend his inflationist and expansionist policy? The Right Honourable Prime Minister. We will continue to meet premiers to work on affordability for families. In order to work for housing investments in Quebec, for example, we've put forward $900 million for the House Building Accelerator Fund, and Quebec is doubling that money, meeting us halfway to build houses throughout the province. We are here to work hand in hand with provinces to fight against climate change, to fight against the housing crisis, and to invest in young people, invest in seniors. We will be here to build a stronger future whilst the Conservatives keep preaching austerity every single day.
Honorable Chef de l'Opposition.
Common sense Conservatives will axe the tax, build the homes, fix the budget, and stop the crime. This Prime Minister is not worth the cost. Indeed, his carbon tax, which the parliamentary budget officer has proven costs 60% of Canadians more than they get back in rebates, is now opposed by 70% of Canadians. Everybody understands that the tax is driving people to the food bank. That's why 6 premiers, including the Liberal Premier of Newfoundland and Labrador, have asked for a meeting. Will he agree to a televised carbon tax conference if he's so sure of himself on this issue?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Parliamentary Budget Officer has confirmed that 8 out of 10 families across the country get more money with the Canada Carbon Rebate attached to the price on pollution than it costs them. That's $1,800 arriving for a family of 4 in Alberta. It's thousands of dollars right across the country. These are things that are helping people with the high cost of living and groceries at the same time as we fight climate change. But, Mr. Speaker, what would be also helpful is if we were able to deliver the doubling of the rural top-up to put hundreds of dollars in the pockets of Canadians, but the Conservative Party is blocking the legislation to double the rural top-up.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, that is mathematically impossible, given that the NDP Liberal government has a combined majority and can pass anything it wants, which is exactly why we're in such a mess today as a country. After 8 years, this NDP Liberal Prime Minister is not worth the cost, and that's why the Parliamentary Budget Officer confirms 60% of Canadians are paying more in carbon taxes than getting back in rebates. But why doesn't the Prime Minister, if he believes the contrary, why doesn't he have the courage to sit down in a televised and open forum and have a carbon tax conference with the premiers?
Prime Minister.
We did sit down with the premiers 8 years ago and established the Pan-Canadian Framework on Climate Change that both puts a price on pollution and puts more money back in the pockets out of 8 of 10 Canadian families in the jurisdictions where the federal backstop applies. That is a way of both fighting climate change and helping with affordability. Now, not only are the Conservative Party counting on taking away those Canada carbon rebate checks, they're arriving this coming Monday on April 15th. People will see in their bank accounts the Canada carbon rebate that puts more money in their pockets ahead of the costs associated with fighting climate.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, he met the premiers in 2016. Since that time, he's broken the promise he made them. He said the tax would only go up to 11 cents a litre. Now, he admits it will go up to 61 cents a litre. He said the tax would make people better off. Now we have the Parliamentary Budget Officer's report, which confirms 60% of Canadians pay more than they get back. The Prime Minister said, and I quote in 2015, Canadians need a PM who will meet with the premiers. What happened?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
While the Conservative leader continues with his misinformation and disinformation, the reality is the Parliamentary Budget Officer said that 8 out of 10 Canadians do better with our price on pollution and the Canada carbon rebate. But speaking of misinformation and disinformation, any responsible leader that receives an endorsement and support from proven conspiracy theorist and liar Alex Jones would have immediately denounced that. But that's not what the Leader of the Opposition did. He did absolutely nothing.